Hello again. Welcome to another episode of Moving About and Manipulating Objects. I'm back to my bread and butter for this episode, I guess, looking at a couple of Bibles, one in particular, inspired somewhat by thrift store Bibles and a few Gideon Bibles that he shared in a few different videos that piqued my interest. And I've been on the lookout for interesting Gideon Bibles since. So I'll put a link to his video or videos in the description. But today we're going to look at a couple of things I got recently that were, again, inspired by thrift store Bibles. So thank you, sir. Recently, Facebook Marketplace had a promotion, a free shipping promotion that they were advertising. And I am always in the habit of looking for Bibles and prayer books on Facebook Marketplace, but often for books and Bibles, one, you can't look at the product before purchasing and hold it in your hands and check its condition, which is why I much prefer to go to the thrift store or flea market or used bookstore to find those things. And two, sometimes old Bibles and prayer books are heavy and they can be expensive to ship and sometimes damaged in shipping. But with the free shipping promotion from Facebook Marketplace, I thought I could take a risk. There was an ad that caught my eye for a box of Bible-related religious books that was selling for $3. And with free shipping for a box of books, I felt like I would be a crazy person not to jump on that, especially because there was at least one book in that stack that very much caught my eye. And so I went ahead and purchased, and when it arrived, I was very pleased because the one Bible that had caught my eye, I would certainly have paid at least $3 for. And we're going to look at it today. One of the items that came in that box of books is this standard modern Gideon New Testament Psalms and Proverbs that we have all seen. And this one is in a New King James. It's been beat up a little bit, so maybe somebody actually used it. I like to think that some of these actually are used for their intended purpose, and that the enormous number of Bibles printed by Gideon don't just all end up in desk drawers and thrown out. So this one actually had a name written in the front that has been taken out. And it is, as I said, the New King James Version. I did learn subsequent research into the Gideons. Tells me that the colors have meaning, the colors of the cover of these books. I have them in multiple colors. I didn't realize that they signify the intended purpose of that printing. So, for instance, green were for New Testaments that were intended to be handed out to college students, college and university students. Did not know that. And I'll put a little screen grab, I think, from Wikipedia article that goes over what the various colors represent of Gideon Bibles. That was neat. So that was the first thing. Didn't really catch my eye, but as a little bonus, I hadn't had a green one yet, so that was nice to have to go with my other colors. But so what originally prompted me to buy it now on that box of books was this Gideon, which is something I've never seen before. There's some thrift store Bibles showed something very similar in a video, and that's kind of what first sparked my interest in Gideon Bibles. I've always been interested in the Gideons and their work. Our local church used to have representatives from the Gideons that would come annually on a Wednesday night or Sunday night and give a presentation about their work and try to recruit Gideon Society members. Haven't done that for a few years, so I don't know if we still have local representatives near to where I am or not, but I learned about the Gideons that way. But as far as finding and collecting their Bibles, just kind of a recent obsession, I guess. And when I saw this, I could tell this was an old version of the Gideon Bible, and so it caught my interest. This, as I said, is similar, very similar to one shared by Thrift Store Bibles, with one interesting difference. This one is published by Nelson. I've not seen a Gideon Bible published by Nelson before. So, was very interested in taking a look at this one. Okay, so just basics of this book. We have the gold foil placed in this room by the Gideons, property of the Gideons. I'm assuming this was in a hotel or a hospital, something of that character. I know they began their work in the first decade of the 20th century, putting Bibles in hotels, but then branched out to hospitals and schools and things of that nature. This book is a black, I guess, imitation leather. It's basically a cardboard material. It must be very durable because it's still very much intact and in good shape. There's some, looks like maybe splatter from, it comes off like it's candle wax or something of that nature. Don't know exactly what it is, but I was able to get some of it off. I left the rest. I'll work on that at another time. So this black faux leather cardboard, but hard. Inside we have readings for various, I guess, events or various subjects. If you're in trouble and discouraged, if trade is poor, if overcome and backsliding, if tired of sin, if you are in sickness, etc. So various life circumstances and the appropriate readings for that. Who are the Gideons? There's a little article here at the beginning that kind of goes over the history of the Gideons, what they do. Interesting reading. And this one is the King James version. There's the old Nelson logo there. Made especially for the Gideons by the authorized publishers Thomas Nelson and Sons, New York. We have the books of the Bible, the table of contents here, note from the publishers, some pronunciation symbols and such like, a introduction to each of the books of the Bible, just a very short introduction to each of them, Old and then New Testament, and then right into the book of Genesis. And here's where it starts to get a little bit different than the one shared by Thrift Store Bibles, I believe. I'm going to unlock the focus here so I can bring this in close. If it'll focus. The type on this is very different. I don't know if this was a common Nelson publisher thing during the time this was printed, which I do not know when this was printed, but I suspect in the 19-teens or 1920s would be my guess. But it's a very kind of a delicate print. The letters are very slender. It's really hard to focus on that. Maybe I'll put some stills so that you can see that. You can see it does have references, center column references. It has, as Thrift Store Bibles pointed out, this very unusual dates, assumed dates of when these events or these writings took place. 4004 BC it has here at the beginning of Genesis. So very traditional dating. Later in Genesis we have BC, what is that, 1898. So all through, at the top of each of these center column references, there's a date corresponding to when the publishers believed that was written or took place. No writing, no underlinings, no name, nothing that I found in here. It's in perfect shape. It has this, as you can see, red Gilding on the sides, that's intact. Really, except for that waxy residue, it's pretty immaculate for its age. Again, I was not able to determine when Nelson was printing Bibles for the Gideons. That would help me to nail down a date on this, because I doubt that they did it for very long. I've never heard of a Nelson printed Gideon. There's no pictures, no illustrations, no maps. It is a black letter edition. There's no red letter in here, but all throughout we have the center column references, and we continue to have dates. AD 33. Luke starts in BC 6, it looks like, and all the way through. I was hoping Revelation might have some surprising date here at the top that would give me a hint as to what to expect, but sadly no. Apparently this is when they were assuming Revelation was written by St. John, AD 96 or AD 90. It's a very tiny print. AD 96. And at the end of the book, nothing at all, no extras at the end. So no concordance, no maps, nothing of that character, no dictionary. But extras in a Gideon Bible would be surprising. And surprising to me is the center column references. I mean, that's seems like an added expense for a Bible intended to be given away and used by travelers or people infirm or sick staying in a hospital for a few days. A businessman coming back to his hotel room late at night, or somebody recuperating from an illness, are they going to take time to look through all the cross references? Maybe they were hoping that. Maybe Gideons were hoping that people would take the Bible with them. Although that kind of makes me think not, when they have this really big property of the Gideons there. So I just think it's odd that they went to all that expense and effort to make such a fine, nice edition, and then place it in a hotel or hospital. But just a very unusual Gideon Bible. I love it. The print is smallish. This book is 8 by 5.5 on the cover, I think. The print is, again, rather small, but it's so crisp. I don't know what this font is called, but it's really lovely. I'll have to look that up and see if that was one used commonly by Nelson at this time. Maybe that will also give me a hint as to when this was produced, and maybe Nelson was publishing other Bibles, this same text block for Bibles other than the Gideons. Not sure. Have to look that up. But for $3 for a box of books, if this is one of the books, yeah, I'll take that 10 times out of 10. So really nice. And look, it even has the kind of the ribs there, pressed into the cardboard or whatever material this is. Anyway, thanks for looking at this with me. And there's a few other books of interest that I may get to eventually from that box. But this was the real prize for me. Such a beautiful Gideon Bible. And I'll very much treasure it. Thanks for looking at this with me today. And maybe you'll join me again next time.